Sure. My name is Stacy, and I'm an assistant professor at a university in northeastern Pennsylvania.
Oh, I know you have those little fancy letters, the PhD behind your name.
I do, yes.
Oh,
So I was looking really to have a little bit of peace in my life, internal peace, external peace, and not really quite sure where to get that. And so when I saw your call, I looked at that and I thought this might be the place for me. I think, we get, especially as women, we get into this every day where you feel like you're on that hamster wheel and it's just going around and around and around and you just cannot get off of that. And I think that's where I was when I talked to you at first over the summer. And I just didn't know how to get off of that wheel. And I didn't know how to get my family to help me get off of that wheel. I didn't know that was even an option, that I could ask for help. And I think that was one of the biggest gains from this program.
it seems like such a simple concept, right? But
Yeah.
why do you think we have issues around that?
I think as women, we really feel like we need to do it all. I need to go to work and I need to look like I have it all put together. I know my student evaluations, if you look at the research behind those, it shows that women in academia are actually rated on a different scale in students' minds. So we have to look the part, we have to act the part, we can only be a certain temperament, where men get away with a lot more things. They can come in and look dressed down. But women, if we go in and we wear jeans, they evaluate us, oh, she's not dressed up, whereas men, that's more acceptable. Men can come in and they can be harsher on students, but when women do that, they're given a different title for that. So there's a lot of double standards, but yet then we're expected to come home and make dinner and do homework and take the kids everywhere and make the doctor's appointments. And so there's a lot of double standards and a lot of expectations that we may have seen modeled as we grew up. And so we are expecting ourselves to be able to fulfill all of these needs as well. Personally, for me, it's really given me an opportunity to sit back and examine why I think about things the way that I do, because on a day-to-day basis, you just do. And again, you're on that hamster wheel and you're really just trying to get through every day and make that one day not a disaster was my goal. Like, I want to come home and make sure my kids are being successful in school, they have something to eat, they feel loved. Everybody's doing what they need to do. And in the end, I really forgot about me and what do I need in my life. And so I think one of the biggest gains from this program is really having the time to step back and take a look at, why do I do the things that I do? Why do I feel the way that I do? And then, what control do I have over those realistically? And how can I exert my control over those, to take back control of my life and do some things that I want to do and what's meaningful to me? Well, first, I would say, within the first couple of weeks, I would say that my outlook on life greatly improved. Not that I had a bad outlook on life, but I really could see my positivity increase, not only my positivity about myself and what I think about myself, but also with others, my patience, certainly, with my family, with my kids, even with the dog, has greatly increased, because I think my positivity about myself has increased. So I think that was one of my early major wins, if you could say. Some of the other things, certainly, I've had this little burning desire that I want to do something else with my life. I really enjoy academia. I enjoy teaching. I get a lot of fulfillment out of that. But I also have felt that there was this other something that I might want to do. And so looking into starting my own business and making that launch and starting to see some fruit there has been really great for me. And I think I was pretty well beaten down at the beginning, and not like beaten in the sense of like physical beaten, but just tired and overwhelmed. And, I didn't know which way to turn. And I just felt like I was in this helpless circle of just work and kids and work and kids and work and kids. And you know, now I have this greater sense of purpose, I guess you could say, you know, where I have this business that I'm trying to launch, which gives me some interest and joy in the day. I mean, not that teaching doesn't do that. I enjoy that. And I keep up with research, and I'm keeping up with to prepare for classes, and I'm still working with students, and that's very good as well. But I think, you know, that along with a lot of the lessons that you've given us about positivity and happiness, I think have really helped to change my whole outlook on life. I've had a lot of people ask me, oh, gee, I think I'd like to be a professor. How do you go about doing that? And I've had friends who I've coached along the way to go ahead and get jobs in different universities. And I've had an opportunity in the last couple of years to work with our national association to talk with some folks about just that topic. And people keep telling me, you know, you're really good at this. You really should think about doing more with this. And it just got me thinking maybe I could actually make some money doing this. So not that I've made any money yet, but I'm on my way. I had another opportunity just last week to do another speaking engagement with our national association. And I've had a lot of people who reached out to me afterwards to say, gee, thanks, I really enjoyed your topic. I hope to keep in touch. And so I'm trying to put them into a Facebook group and keep in touch with them there. So I think this program has really helped me to say, okay, I can do this. I can do it while I'm still teaching, because I've been able to organize my life in other areas. And I think this program has a lot to do with that. And I give it a lot of credit, and to you, Kim. So I think first would be the lessons and the research behind how we can understand how much we actually have control of in our lives. And for me, that was an eye-opening fact that I have control over this much of my life, even though circumstances may dictate this, my heredity may dictate this, but I have control over a lot of it. And what my actions, my thoughts, and my beliefs can really change how my life is. And I think that was the biggest thing to begin with that really captured me and said, wow, this is really going to be life-changing for me. And the second part is the activities that you have for us to do. So those activities, while time-consuming and sometimes gut-wrenching, because you're finding out things about yourself that you really have maybe never thought about, or maybe have suppressed in some way, about how they really affect how you think about things and what you believe in life. And so those two things, I think overall were the big things, but then being able to have those one-on-one coaching calls with you, because those really helped to put everything together where I could ask questions. And then we had that other one-on-one coaching call.
Yeah.
So the group calls, but also that one-on-one coaching call, because that was really helpful for me to say, okay, here's my specific thing that I want to work on, but I just don't know how to do that. And you were able to really help me fill in the gaps on that. I almost didn't join because the money, to be honest with you, it was really the money. And that's when I talked with you. I think we had that half hour to talk, and, you know, I was talking about I need to get my son braces and I need to do this. And it was during that talk when, you know, you said to me, and I don't think anybody has ever said this to me before, you know, you're allowed to spend money on yourself, right? And that's something that I think that as women, we put ourselves behind a lot, because everybody has to have everything first, and whatever's left over we get, whether it's time, whether it's money. So that was my biggest, I think, hesitation, because I've never really spent a lot of money on myself. And so when I looked at that, I had a little sticker shock. But I can tell you now that I have spent the money and gone through the program, that it was the best money I've ever spent. And I remember talking to a friend of mine recently, and she said, wow, I've really noticed a lot of differences in you and your outlook and the things that you talk about and how you talk about them, and what have you been doing? And I mentioned this program, and she said, wow, how much was that? And I told her, and she looked at me and she said, you know what? It was worth every penny. She said, you just you've come such a long way. And so I really appreciate that she said that to me, because it's validation. You know, I know that it's good, but it's good also to hear that from other people. Let's see. So I'd say my favorite part about working with you, Kim, is your realistic attitude. You are so fabulous that you can listen to anybody's story, no matter what it is. It could be a story of depression. It could be a story about loneliness. It could be a story about, I don't know where I belong in this world. And you can really talk to that person from the heart, and you can tell them, based on the work that you've done, the books that you've read, the conferences you've been to, the coaching you've had, where you feel they need to start working on themselves to really be able to pull together a plan to pull them out of whatever situation that they're in. And you're always there with a supportive word. On the calls, you're always very supportive and caring. But yet at the same time, you hold us accountable, which is really important, because if I knew that I could get on a call with you and just say, oh, I had a really tough day and I didn't get to this or didn't get to that, and you would say to me, oh, that's okay, we'll get to it next week, you know, then it just wouldn't work. But you hold us accountable to the point where, you know, there was a time when one of my cohorts and I, you know, before your call, we were messaging each other going, I'm still cramming for today. Are you done yet? And she'd say, I'm almost done. How much more do you have to do? What do you think about this? You know, so to the point where, you know, it does feel like you're back in college and you have to get there to perform on that exam or that test, and it holds you accountable. And the reason that that's really good is it really gets the most out of the program and helps you to really develop your best self and to solve whatever issue it is that you've come here to solve. So I would recommend this program to any woman, even 18-year-old women. I mean, I see them in at the university all the time, where they come in and I don't know, it seems like this generation is just depressed and they have so many things going on. A lot of them are taking care of parents or siblings. And then to think about taking care of themselves while they're going to college, friends who are in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, who may be suffering from depression, or even just on that wheel that feels like they're overwhelmed and they just can't get off. And so any woman who's going through anything, whether it's, like I said, depression or life issues or love issues or kid issues or whatever it might be, can come into this program and really work on themselves in sort of like figuring out what it is about why I'm thinking this way and why I'm behaving this way, why I'm feeling this way, and how to turn that around quickly.